it's Jackie from 35th Avenue, and I am so excited. It is another Sewing Machine Expo event, and we are here today with Pfaff. We are so excited to have Debi from Pfaff showing you all the new machines, and we have some exciting things going on. So
I'm very excited.
Yeah, so you got to watch to the end because we have the big grand finale type thing. So again, couple housekeeping. I'm going to put our slide up because that'll give us our phone number on it. So we're again, today is Sewing Expo, what are we, number 6? Nope, 6. Nope, we're number 5 today. I'm losing track. So it is the Sewing Machine Expo, 35th Avenue. We are located in Phoenix, Arizona. We do have 3 locations in the valley. So we have a Phoenix one, which we are at right now in our big event center. So again, I've told them before, you can come and do demos on the machines and test drive the Pfaff. Wait till she shows you what it will go through. It's awesome. So don't forget that. But we do have a Chandler location in El Mirage. So we are basically spread out through the valley. Main location Valley, and El Mirage is in the West Valley. So if you're anywhere near them, you can come see us, get a demo on the Pfaff, and our specials are throughout our whole store, so whichever works for you. If you have questions, we have sewing sales experts on the phone at 1-877-242-6282, extension 3, and they can answer any questions. They can give you, prices, anything like that on the machines, which we'll have on the slides later, so all the specials and everything, and they can hold a machine. So if you really want a machine, you can just call us up and we'll put a hold on it and you can come and get it, or curbside pickup, whichever one works for you. If you have comments, questions, we have someone on the computer answering all the questions and everything, so you can also do that. Or you can send us a message through Facebook and we can answer. We have someone expert on Facebook listening and watching, so if you have questions. But number one thing is we are going to do drawings and prizes and all that good stuff. And the way you win that is you have to comment and share our video. So don't forget to do that, because the more you do it, the more you get into our drawing. Isn't that awesome?
It is.
It is. Free stuff.
I shared it twice yesterday.
Oh, man.
I did.
You did. That's
good.
That's
Oh, well,
awesome.
technically more than that, because I sent it to all my kids.
Oh, gotcha. You had to do it. Look what I'm doing. That's awesome on it. So, again, we're here with Pfaff, with Debi, and thank you for coming again.
Well, thank you for having me.
It's awesome. We have some really cool stuff. And again, we have something woo in the very end.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, I'm so excited about this. So, we're going to get started. We're going to kind of do little things. We're going to start with kind of the mid-range machine today.
Yeah, we're going to start with the Pfaff Quilt Expression 720. All right, so this is a great kind of the high midline.
Gotcha.
It's great for sewers and quilters. It's got a 10-inch throat.
That's nice.
It's very nice. So if you're working on some larger quilts or some home deck items, or you're working with, just anything larger, you've got that extra space in here. Yeah. It does have great lighting.
I was going to say, the lighting's great.
The lighting,
bright,
I really like that, when they got the LED lighting, because I know that I don't always have the best lighting in my sewing room.
Right.
And let's just face it, some of our eyes are getting a little older. We need that extra lighting.
I get it.
And the nice thing is it's not just under here. They've put it under or around the needle as well, so it's well lit all the way across. Buttons here, very easy. You have your presser foot lift up and down. Now
Wait, there's no presser foot lift in the
back.
back.
No presser foot lift in the back.
Yeah.
So, the first time you experience that,
right.
It's a little challenging, because
right.
we're used to reaching in the back and lifting that. But once you get used to it, oh my God, I mean,
I can't. I
have to have it.
Yeah.
I notice it.
Totally.
And the nice thing is, and this is on a lot of our models, so it'll be on the ones that we showcase all the way up from here. But we've got needle down, so with one press of a button, I'm in needle up. But one of the things I like, and let me grab my foot control here, tap the foot control, the needle goes down. Tap the foot control again, the needle goes up.
Nice.
That's really nice.
So no hands. You don't
no
have to
hands.
hit.
I don't have to worry about that. Now, with the push of a button, I can always stop and needle down.
Right.
So that's always an option. On the presser foot lift, again, if I raise it using the button, it comes up to its normal height. Press it again, it goes to an extra high lift.
And I heard the noise.
What you heard is the machine dropping the feed dogs. So when it goes into the extra high lift, it drops the feed dogs. Because if you've ever put thick fabric, whether it's multi-layers of denim or polar fleece or something like that that's very thick, one, on a lot of machines, you have to hold the presser foot up if it's got the lift, and then you're trying to slide everything under with one hand.
But doesn't, on like other machines that have the pressure foot lifter, when you're holding it up and you put it down, it doesn't release the tension? So it doesn't, you know, hold the tension. With this one, it'll go higher and then it releases down and it keeps the tension.
It does.
So
it's really
tight.
nice.
Yeah,
and then, again, I can use my presser foot lift buttons to lower it, or just tap my foot control and it goes down. And then start to sew.
And it pivots, right?
Oh, when you stop, again, when I stop and the needle's down, see how the foot raised just slightly. Now,
look at that.
Start to sew again, stop, needle down, pivot. So this is great whenever you're doing, you know, patch pockets. I used to make scrub tops for my kids when they worked for a vet. They had to have the pockets, and so this was so nice when I went to do those pockets.
And look, I did it from behind.
Really?
That was how easy it was, see?
So, you know, I love those little features. There are things, you know, sometimes it's the little things that a machine does that really help us when we're doing our sewing. So again, I have needle up, needle down, I have the scissors on board. I can just touch a button and the machine will sew if I don't want to use the foot control. Now when you turn the machine on, it's going to automatically come to your straight stitch, and you can see I can adjust the length and the width here. Now when I want to change stitches, very easy. This is a menu button. I touch that.
Oh, look at those stitches.
I know, and you have all of these different categories of stitches, and we just scroll across, choose a category. So this would be leaves and flowers. And look at all of those decorative stitches.
So this is a 9mm machine.
This is a 9mm
so I can
wide
get really
stitch.
wide
Really
stitches.
wide, yes.
That's great.
Okay, so that 9mm stitch width really makes a difference when you're doing your decorative. Now, if I'm doing something more delicate, like, you know, something for a small child, I can adjust the width down. But that 9mm really makes it nice.
And doesn't this come with a straight needle plate too, right?
It does.
Which is nice for quilting.
Right.
So they can have the single hole.
So you have, you know, the option if you want that single hole plate. And it does do a safety, so if you put that plate on, it's not going to let you go.
We need that safety. Because I hate to tell
that.
you how many times on the other machines I've done is put the single hole needle plate on and forget.
Yes, and yeah, it's not a good sound when you do that. So
that's a great feature.
Yeah, it is a great feature. So, you know, you've got reverse here. Now this is something, we're going to go back into my straight stitch real quick, because this is something I have seen people talk about, and that is we also have continuous reverse. So why would I ever want to? So if I push my reverse key and this lights up, the machine will sew in continuous reverse.
Oh, nice.
Now, if I'm sewing along and I just want to go in reverse for a little while, as long as the machine is in motion. So again, I've actually used it for quilting. And sometimes, you know, you want to do something where you're going in a complete circle or, you know, that kind of thing. And to rotate the quilt 360 degrees and shove it all the way through here a bunch of times is tough. So I will actually quilt in reverse.
Wow,
I applique in reverse. So it's something that's really easy to do, and I mean, I love it. And once you get used to using it, it's nice not having to hold that button down.
That's nice.
And then again, it does have, like so many of the machines now, it does have the scissors on board, so it cuts the top and bottom, pulls your threads to the back.
And that stitch is a nice stitch.
It's a beautiful stitch.
Yeah.
Yep. And then when you're ready to sew, fabric underneath there, hit your foot control, and away to go. You notice I didn't have to hold threads or anything like that.
Exactly.
So
Yeah, that's awesome.
it is awesome.
What's this? We have this black leather. This
We
is
do.
original,
Okay.
right?
It is. Okay. So this machine, like so many of our machines, does have the IDT, which is the built-in walking foot.
So pretty much all the machines in the line.
Pretty much.
I think all of them now have that
I
built-in.
think pretty much. Now, it may be hard for them to see this, but if I go slow, can you see how it's actually working and moving? So it's actually working with the feed dogs. Let's go ahead and change our stitch length and make it really long, and look how it elongates its stride.
Wow. That's great.
Now here, let's put it in reverse and go, watch, it's actually working backwards.
And you can't do that on a regular walking foot.
You cannot do that with a regular walking foot. It's not recommended. So this is something that I have used over the years. You know, originally a garment sewer, but then we all get into quilting and that kind of stuff. So when we're piecing, it's phenomenal for that. And then when you're quilting, so I not only use it in my garment construction, but I use it in my piecing, and I use it in my quilting as well.
And the easiest way I have to explain the original IDT is if you put a walking foot on your machine and you drop your feed dogs, see what happens. It hardly moves because the walking foot is working with the feed dogs to move the fabric. With the original IDT, you drop the feed dogs, it's still moving the fabric because it is actually feed dogs on top of your fabric. Right. That's the easiest way I can always explain, you know, like, you know, and it's a really nice feature. And it's the original, so you know the original. You can't beat the original.
Exactly. I mean, it's something that we've had on the machine for, I'm going to say, you know, in my mind, I'm thinking over 30 years.
Forever.
Forever. It seems like forever
Before I was born.
Okay, we'll go with that.
Let's go with that.
When I was just a child.
There you go. Well, you know.
I know. So, you know, you can't beat perfection.
You can't. That's what the slogan for Pfaff is, perfection.
That's it. And, you know, like I said, for the sewer, for the quilter, it's the ideal.
It's a great second machine.
It is a great second machine.
You know, if someone
and we'll talk about that later, you know,
Yeah.
when we get up into the high end. Sometimes, you know, you want to have that second machine. This is a great one to have.
And in this line, they have, in the Expression line, they have two machines. This is their 720, and they do have a 710, which is, you know, below it. So we actually have them both on specials, but this one today is on a great special.
Well, and the reason, okay, for me, why I would go at least with the 720 is some of the decorative stitches. There are some exclusive stitches on here. So again, if we go into our stitch menu and I touch here and we are going to go over to 8, we have ribbon stitches. We have stacking stitches and we have floating stitches. And so you've got on here, these are my floating stitches. And you can see that they look as if they're floating on the fabric. And this is where I'm using them on a fold, but they can also be used to piece fabric together. And then here across where I did the diagonal, I have the one of the ribbon stitches. And we'll show you a few how those are done so that you can see.
So this one, the 720, has some of those built in.
Yeah, so this one does have, like I said, this one has some ribbon stitches. And if we were to touch ribbon stitches, you can see we've got some single and double ribbon stitches, stacking stitches. And these are designed to be done in pairs. Right. They're really kind of interesting.
I love the little mushroom.
I know.
And then you put the little grass with it.
And then we have the floating stitches. So. This is where those exclusive stitches start.
Which is nice. So it's a good, you know, you kind of get into the decorative stitching, but not too many on it, because everyone always says, you know, oh, I don't want so many, but these are the fun stitches.
These are the fun stitches.
On it. And you can, again, we're doing the make and take, and actually on the make and take, that's where the stitches we're doing play with them. So
yes,
if you want to
we're using some of the floating stitches and the ribbon stitch, so you get to experience those.
Yeah. So again, Quilt Expression 720 is normally $39.99. I have it on special for Expo price for $27.99.
Oh, that's a phenomenal price.
It is. And of course, they need something to bring it to class and so forth. So I am doing a free trolley with it.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, it's a nice light little feature on
Yeah.
it. So $27.99. Again, we have it in stock. Call the store, whatever, however you want to do. Come on down. We're here all day to get your machine.
All right, great.
So should we go to the next one?
Yep, let's go.
All right. This is my baby.
This is one of my babies. Okay, so this one is the Performance, the Pfaff Performance icon. So this is basically top of the line in sewing only. So for those that really don't want to get into embroidery but want a phenomenal machine for sewing and for quilting, maybe want a little bit bigger throat space. So we're talking about 12 inches, but not just in the width. You'll notice that the height is also
King
a little
size
bit.
without
So
a problem.
you've got a huge area in here for doing your quilting and for doing you know, like I said, garment sewing, that kind of thing. Much larger screen. So again, I sometimes I think a little bit easier to navigate. You've got the same type of adjustments you can make on the 720, but you're going through multiple screens to do that. Where here, pretty much everything is on the same screen. Now, one of the things I absolutely love, and I think we kind of forget about it at times, is they've increased the piercing power on this one.
I tried it when we first got the machines. I was like, they said they were going to go through the thickness. And you can even ask Angie, was like, oh, it's not going to go through that. And I'm like, watch this.
Oh,
and
I know.
it was like awesome and went through it without
So
a problem.
I've got a layer of vinyl here, and I do sew a lot with vinyl for different projects and stuff. So we're going to take like 4 layers. So I folded it. I'm going to just slide it under the foot. I am using my IDT. And we're just going to go and just look. I mean, that's just like, and you know, while I would never do this at home, notice that because of that IDT, relatively straight feeding.
And we just have a regular foot on.
I just have a regular foot and a regular needle. I mean, I don't even have a specialty needle in here. And I was playing with it earlier, and I went through, this is 8 layers of stabilizer and fabric.
Wow.
And then 4 layers of vinyl. Here, 8 layers of vinyl, and it went through with no problem whatsoever. So if you're working on those, I know a lot of people do handbags.
Right.
And when you get to that point where you're putting on the handles and things like that, you're sewing through multiple layers of fabric, and I am just amazed at how easy this sews through that. With no effort whatsoever. So really great. All right, so again, looking at the screen.
Needle threader.
Oh my gosh.
We always forget about the needle threader because it's such a, you know.
So, you know, very easy to thread today's machines. Everything kind of just lays in. So we just kind of get under the guides. We kind of come up and down, around. You know, make that last guide, kind of come in here. So look how easy that was to thread.
Yeah, it was
effortless.
Blink, you were there.
I know, and you know, when you're sitting actually straight on, it's a little bit easier.
You did
now,
good.
there is a threading button right here. You look at it, it looks like a needle with a thread going through it. So we're going to watch, and I say, don't
So watch
blink.
right, yeah,
So we
watch
want to
right
watch
here,
right
yeah.
here at the needle while I press that.
What?
And I never get tired of, whoops, it looks like it just,
It's on camera.
it's on
okay.
camera, and if anything can go wrong, there we go.
yeah.
All right, so look how easy that was to thread.
That was quick and easy.
And I never get tired of watching
Yeah,
that.
that's.
So it really is very easy to thread. Again, we have the built-in walking foot. Now, this is something I absolutely love, is the wider plate.
Right.
And we're all used to having a plate that has markings on the right side. This has markings on the left side as well.
Nice.
So it is nice, and it's in inches and millimeters, so no matter which measurement you prefer using, you've got those markings. So I think that's really a nice feature. And it's something, you know, again, one of those little things that just help to make sewing a little bit easier. Again, larger screen.
Yep. Sorry, I interrupted.
That's okay. That's okay. You know
right?
what? That's okay. You know, there's so many things that I love about this machine.
Right.
Sometimes I forget.
Yeah, I know.
And you know, they're and you forget them because you're so used to using them.
Right. Exactly.
So again, the larger screen, easier to navigate. I love the fact that you have the information up here.
Right.
So it gives me, when I choose a stitch, it has recommendations. So what foot, you know, whether I should use the IDT. Also tells me what I'm using right now. So this has active stitch technology. So what this machine has is, and I can use my tensions in two ways. The active stitch technology is a roller system. So what it does is it meters out the correct amount of thread. So if you're working on a thin fabric or a thick fabric, there's no need to go in and adjust your tension. Nice. The machine's going to meter out the correct amount of thread for that perfect stitch.
So isn't that good for like metallics? And
it's great for metallics.
Even that sliver thread, that little flat thread,
so
it just rolls right through it.
For the thread, for the fabrics, things like that, you have that. I have the IDT activated.
Nice.
Okay, so it shows me that that is active right now. You know, the other thing I like is this machine really does have a fully customizable screen, and I think that's something we skip over a little bit. So let's go in. I'm going to go into a decorative stitch. So I'm just going to touch my load stitch, and I'm just going to scroll over here. And only coming over here because usually these stitches have a little bit more adjustability.
Right.
So I'm going to open Stitch Edit, and you're going to see there's my width, my stitch length or my pattern length, density. I have my mirroring icon. So let's say that I know I change my length and I change my density a lot on my decorative stitches. Well, if I touch the Stitch Edit up here, you see it kind of turned those little icons blue. I can take these features and I can place them on my screen.
Maybe.
Grab that one.
There you go.
Okay.
And you're using your finger. You're not
using my finger.
Stylus.
No stylus, and it works better with your finger
Yeah.
or the type of stylus you might use with your iPad, that kind of thing. And then I can close Stitch Edit, and I can actually put these anywhere on my screen. And now I don't have to open the editing anytime so if I want to change my width, if I want to mirror a stitch, if I want to change the pattern length, it's all right there. Now, when I'm done with doing those kinds of things, or I feel I'm getting a little more cluttered, I just touch the little X in the corners,
pops it back into
and it pops it, hands are a little cold there, pops it right back in. So I love to be able to customize my screen for the different sewing.
Nice, that's nice. Because, you know, we always have those extra buttons that we want. Just like on your phone, you know, you always have those.
And instead of having to go through multiple steps to get them, I can put them on my screen.
Nice.
And you can see, if I did something, I had mirror side to side, mirror end to end, it all shows up what I have active at that particular time.
So can you save this stitch as you mess with it?
Yes, you can definitely save it.
I don't know
There's
about you.
a little heart icon down here. So if I touch that, it opens up my SewNet. So here I would just give the stitch a name, say OK, and it would save that particular stitch for future use.
So you mentioned SewNet. So this is just a sewing machine. It's not an embroidery machine.
It's not.
But we can still save up to the cloud up there?
Yep, we can.
Oh, nice.
So you can do, and it is Wi-Fi, you know, there is Wi-Fi connectivity for, you know, updates and things like that.
Nice.
Now, selecting stitches, we have multiple ways of doing that.
Right.
And you know what? It's not nice to know you have more than one way to do that. So again, I could go through the load a stitch and just scroll over.
Yeah.
Or especially if I want to go into my specialty stitches.
Right.
So I'm going to come up here and I'm going to touch this icon that looked like a little book. And this is my Help Center. So in the Help Center, we have the User's Guide, which is a built-in book.
Right.
Nice thing about having the book built into the machine is that when they do an update, they can update the book as well.
You don't have to
If it's a
reprint
printed
more.
manual, it's never going to be able to be updated,
Right.
or you're going to have to reprint pages. The getting started is nice. The getting started gives me videos on how to thread the machine, how to wind a bobbin.
Right.
So again, if it's a new machine and I haven't done something in a while, I have that built-in tutorial, and it's great. But we're going to go to techniques and tutorials. Now there's garment techniques, but we're going to go under sewing techniques, and I'm going to do this exclusive stitch techniques. So here you can see I have single, double, triple ribbon, stacking stitches, floating, 2 different ways, radiant stitches and lace stitches.
I like the radiant stitches.
I love the radiant
They're
stitches.
so fun to do.
They're fun, so are the floating, and I really do love the floating stitches. Okay, so let's say we're going to do floating stitches and joining fabric. So again, this gives me what I need, what foot I would use, that kind of stuff. There's a video on how to do it. But before I close that out, do you see where it says the word content? Well, if I touch content, it takes me right to the floating stitches. So no need to scroll
It's
and
like, wait a
find
minute,
them.
yeah, because then you'll forget where you're going, and yeah, you can just hit it.
Okay, and then I'm going to choose one real quick here. And then I want to be able to see my stitch,
Right.
so I'm going to go ahead and close that out. And when I did that, my project folder opened up over here. And you're going to see where that's going to come in handy.
Oh.
All right, sorry about this. Reach over here. We're going to take a piece of fabric.
Right.
And we're just going to lay our first piece down like we would normally. And then I'm going to take a piece of fabric and I'm going to place wrong sides together like we normally would do. I'm going to place that under here, and we're going to see how straight I can sew. Oops, I can see something right here. Let's make sure. I hate it when that happens and we, you know, zoot skips a groove there. So I don't mind if I ever have to rethread because it's so easy to do. All right, so we're going to position this, and I'm just going to go ahead and sew this stitch. And again, let's speed up the machine a little bit. There's a speed control here on the side. Now, I'm sewing it on a piece of stabilizer just for today, but I usually do put some kind of a tearaway stabilizer under this. It just, for any decorative stitch, stabilizer is very important. And you will see under recommendations, it does tell you that you should be using a stabilizer. So we're going to cut. Now, you can see the decorative stitch here. And that would look like it would be on the wrong side of my fabric.
Right.
But I'm going to lay this on the bed of the machine, and I'm going to gently pull my top fabric back.
What? Look at that.
And now we have the stitch.
That's so cool.
And it appears, and it's called a floating stitch
Yep.
because we see no stitches in between.
And you were sewing on the side, so even if you weren't straight, it's still, I mean, it
And
looks
sometimes
straight.
I
Yeah.
deliberately don't sew straight. On the
I can
pillow
see.
wrap that I have here, it's just kind of what I call my wonky piecing.
Yeah.
I deliberately put them at an angle so that I get that.
You get the different ones. Yeah.
So this one shows several of the different stitches. You said you like the radiant
Right.
stitches, and you can see that we have radiant stitches on here. Another stitch that I have on here that's really great is the lace edge stitches, and I use those on my binding.
Right there.
Yep, so you've got additional stitches here. So remember, we have our floating stitches, we have the stacking stitches like we did, and we have ribbon stitches, but here we have radiant, we have lace edge, so you get more exclusive decorative stitches with the performance icon.
Nice. On it.
So, and like I said, I love my ribbon stitches. you know, you get favorites.
Right,
But
exactly.
I think it has to do with your project.
I totally get that. So, but can I customize my own stitches? Not like this one, but like if I have like a blanket stitch that I want to make a little bit bigger.
Oh, you know what? You've got
take a
all
stitch
kinds
out.
of things now. Okay, I
Doesn't have
mean, we're
something
really getting into some great things
yeah,
here.
that's
Stitch Creator is one of my favorite things on this machine. I can take an existing stitch. Now, if I'm doing a blanket stitch, I'm really picky about my blanket stitch.
Right.
And most of the stitches, they're going to start with a straight stitch. They're going to swing over, swing back, and then do a straight stitch. Well, when I get to a corner, I really like to be able to do a straight stitch that'll pivot right into the corner.
Gotcha.
I need that to be my starting point. So I want to be able to change that stitch, and I can do this in a couple of different ways.
Okay.
I can take a stitch, and let's come in here and find our.
Now I'm putting you under the pressure now.
Oh, that's okay. What, finding the stitch is the one. So let's find. Okay, here's my blanket stitch, and let's close this out. So you can see on the screen, it consists of only 4 stitches for a single pattern, but it starts on the straight stitch. Okay, and it's hard to see, I know sometimes, but everything is green or highlighted.
Correct.
So I'm going to touch that top icon there that was green, and you notice that everything is turned to white, so nothing is highlighted. And I can tell that I'm on stitch 4 of 4. So I am going to go back until I'm on stitch number 1.
Where the little green dot is, right?
Where the little green dot is. I'm going to open up editing, and I'm going to touch my trash can and delete it. Well, now I would have a stitch that would just go back and forth. I just made a bar tack.
Yeah, I was going to say, exactly. So, but hey, you did it good.
We're going to now advance to the 3rd stitch.
Okay.
And we have this icon down here. We're just going to add a stitch. And over here, you can see that the stitch is totally different now.
So on the top of the screen, it just go up a little. There you go. It just added a straight stitch.
So I added a straight stitch down here, and so you can see the stitch over here. It now starts this way. And this is definitely a stitch that I would put into memory for future use. So I not only have hundreds of built-in stitches, but I also can create my own. So this only had 4 stitches. I took one and altered it. It would have been just as easy to create it
you could have been, I mean,
it was
quick
only
and
4
easy.
stitches.
Yeah.
But I can delete part of stitches. I can take other stitches. I can combine them. So there's amazing things that you can do here in Stitch Creator.
Nice.
So we just touch OK, and I'd be ready to sew that particular blanket stitch out.
So basically, the stitches are unlimited.
They are unlimited.
Nice.
Yeah, so if you can figure out how a stitch sews out, you can create it.
That's nice.
It is nice.
Yeah, because I've done a couple stitches where you come around and then I want to add another stitch to it.
Right.
And make my own little type of
And
thing.
I've taken stitches that, and I'll take part of a stitch out.
Yep.
And actually put another stitch in and create something totally new.
Right.
So the possibilities, I think, on this machine are pretty much endless when it comes to sewing.
And then you save them and you'll have them forever.
That's it.
You just got to remember you have them.
True.
Like instead of redoing it over and over,
and over again.
Exactly.
And this is so easy to redo that we don't think about it that much.
Exactly.
But again, save it for future use and you don't have to recreate it.
So a couple things. People obviously it has a bigger bed, bigger throat, type of thing. Can it do free motion?
Oh, very easily. You're going to see now. Again, if I were doing free motion, I probably wouldn't be using my blanket stitch.
That would kind of be
so I'm going to come back into my load stitch, go to my utilities, and pick up a straight stitch. And then you're going to notice along here in the bottom, where you've got your stitch edit, stitch repeat, we have an icon right here that says free motion. So when I touch that, it's going to open up a dialog box down here to ask me what foot that I prefer to use. So I have the choice of 4 different feet. The dynamic spring foot is a hopping foot, which most of us are used to. And it's great if you're working on thick thick fabrics, a quilt, something that might have some additional seam allowances like that. So the foot will kind of jump up a little bit and then come down when the stitch forms so that you get that perfect stitch formation. You have a spring foot, which I think a lot of us used to use, that has a little spring on it. So again, it's a different type of hopping foot pretty much. The Sensormatic free motion hovers.
Yeah, that's
so
my
it
favorite.
stays at one. You know, I'm mixed. I think for people just learning, the foot that hovers is easier sometimes to learn because you're not distracted by that foot going up and down. And then the new one, the latest one they have added is the free motion ruler foot. And you'll see right there, if it's an optional foot, it basically says that it's an optional foot. So basically you would choose the foot that you were going to use. And again, I know I was talking so you didn't hear that sound, but it automatically dropped my feed dogs.
So no going behind.
No having to look for that lever to drop the feed dogs.
Nice.
All right, so I would just disengage the dual feed. I would put on the 6D foot, and I would be ready to do my free motion quilting.
Nice.
So a lot of easier steps. I don't have as many steps. And then once I come out of it, I take that foot off and I go back into my stitching. It automatically, on the first time your hand wheel turns, your needle goes down, the feed dogs will come back up.
You got to remember that, because you know normally
we always get that. We always get that call.
Right.
I was just free motioning. I changed to a straight stitch, and my feed dogs didn't come up. They won't until you take the first stitch. But they automatically raise. So that's one thing we don't have to remember to do, and I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah.
So this is a great machine, and I like to spool things up here.
Well, you know what, and I think we forget again to say, you know, to say some of the things that we're so used to. I've got 2 spool pins. Okay, so I can very easily run 2 threads. Most of the time the thread I'm sewing with will be on the left, and the one on the right I use for winding my bobbins, because again, a lot of times when I'm quilting or doing decorative stitches, I might have a different spool of thread for winding the bobbin. But if I'm doing twin needlework, pin tucks, that kind of stuff, this could be my second spool of thread. These go down for storage, but I love the fact that we have the telescoping thread stands. So you were talking about metallic thread earlier, and we have the active stitch technology, which makes the tension area easier for the metallics, but having that thread stand just lets that metallic relax a little bit more as it comes out. So again, it makes the metallics a little more trouble-free, because some people just are afraid of metallics. And they're wonderful. So, and this again, all of this would either fold down, telescope down for the lid to go down for traveling. So it's not something that you have to put on the machine. It just, it's there all the time. So it's great.
Nice.
I know.
It's a great little machine. Well, I say little machine, but it's not a little machine.
It's not a little machine.
You know, but you know, if you have a top-end embroidery already and you want that sewing feature, you know.
See, and that's just it. You know, when we get in, we're going to talk about the sewing and embroidery capabilities of the machines. But with this one, what's nice is I have pretty much everything that my top-of-the-line embroidery machine does. And while I'm embroidering, you know, a lot of times I need to be there for thread changes, or I'm loading, you know, I need a bobbin or something like that. What this does is it lets me have those same features, those same decorative stitches that I get on my top-of-the-line machine in a sewing version only. So me personally, I like having them both.
Of course, we need them all.
I know.
All right, but we have a great
price. I know you have a great price on this one as well.
Yeah, we have a great price on this one. So on this one, which is our performance icon, normally this is it's a top-end sewing and quilting machine, and it is normally $9,999. We have it on special today for expo price for $59.99.
Wow.
It's a great price. And we have 0% financing. Plus, do you see it? Free trolley and table. So you know the slide-on table that comes here?
Oh, an extension table to give you a little bit more room.
Exactly, because you know you're quilting those big quilts, you need that little extension table. So it's coming with a free trolley and an extension table. You can't beat that price. And again, free financing, so it's a great deal.
It is.
On it. So we have them in stock. Again, you can pick them at any of our locations on it. So.
That's great.
Should we go on to the...
Oh, you betcha.
So we talked about all the sewing and all this, but now we have to add a little embroidery to it, right?
Exactly.
Woohoo!
All right,
We're
so
coming.
here is the Pfaff creative icon. So what we were working on before was the performance icon. The performance icon is sewing only. The creative icon is the sewing and embroidery. So it has everything that the performance icon has and more. So you saw that we had those exclusive stitches, the ribbon stitches, you know, the floating, all that kind of stuff. This actually has even a few more stitches. So I mean, you get you get more. In embroidery, again, we've got that large screen. Let's go ahead. I'm going to clear my screen here. Let's go into embroidery edit and let's clear our screen so you can see. Again, very easy to clear the screen. I can either open up editing or I can touch. It opens up this box and I can just say delete and it takes everything off of the screen. So you've got more, you know, you've got all of the information and everything that happens with the performance icon. We have some new icons over here. Now, just to talk about a few things, something I have always loved about the Pfaff embroidery is I can take any of my decorative stitches and put them into embroidery. And we have, I mean, we're only going to be able to highlight a few of these, but we have what we call Shape Creator.
So excited.
I know, I'm going to use a couple of those, and I'll show you how to do a couple of those. But I created this particular piece on screen. So everything that you see on the front here was done in the screen. So the first thing I wanted to do is create a background, okay? And so this is one of my decorative stitches that I entered into the machine, and then I duplicated it to create a single row. And then I highlighted that entire row and duplicated it until I had completely covered my hoop area. After I had that, I used my applique creator to create the applique. Brought in a decorative stitch, which was too large.
Wait, so that's not an embroidery stitch?
This is an embroidery. So excuse me, this is an embroidery stitch.
Okay, I was going to say
that I had to resize.
Resize. There you go.
And we'll talk about resize momentarily. And then we have these wonderful built-in fonts. So basically, you can create all kinds of layers using not only embroidery designs, but you can
So you, on the background, you didn't sit there and just hold the machine over and over and stitch it. You just basically brought it into embroidery and let it do it itself.
I mean, I could have done it row by row by row.
We could have, but why?
That's it. And would I have been quite as straight as the embroidery machine? Probably not.
Of course you would be.
So, you know, just to touch on a couple of things. I talked about Applique Creator. And I absolutely love this. You can also see the little boo banner that's back
this
here.
Little guy,
This was all done in Applique Creator. So again, we're just going to go into our hoop options because I want a little bit larger hoop area to be able. So I'm going to choose my 200 by 200.
So those are all hoops that are in there.
Those are all. So when you go under hoop options, look at all of these hoops from the very small 80 by 80. Up to a 360 by 350, which is a repositionable hoop. The largest hoop for a single hooping would be the 360 by 260, which is approximately 10 by 14 inches.
Wow, that's huge.
So that is a huge embroidery area. So that's another thing about the creative icon is we can go from a very small hoop up to a very large hoop, which lets us create, you know, larger things without having to do rehooping. But I just want to be able to, when I pick a hoop and I close this out, that represents that whole area. Now, if I go into Applique Creator, I have this icon here with the circle and the star, and that's my load shape. So, you know, whenever you get a new machine, the first thing you have to do is learn the icons. right? And so we could be going through a book trying to find it or going through all these other things. But one of the things I love about the Pfaff is I don't have to do that. The question mark that's up here, if I touch the question mark and then I touch a particular icon, it tells me what it is. So this is my load shape. And it says to open the shape menu, this is the icon that I would choose. Pretty self-explanatory. Now, if there's more information available, it'll say, do you want to read more about that? And it will take me to that section of the manual. And what I love is I can do that even in the middle of a project, and it doesn't affect my project at all. I can just close the book out, and I'm going to continue right where I left off.
One of the things I like about Pfaff is if you're upgrading, so like if you have a creative sensation, the icons are the same.
Yes, I mean, they just might be in different places.
Exactly. So if you're used to that one icon, like the free motion icon, you know, that little squiggly, that's on all the Pfaff machines. So it's easy to upgrade to the next level because of the the icons stay the same.
Exactly.
It's really
and
nice.
I really like that. They just put them sometimes in a little bit different
places.
places.
Yeah, they kind of sometimes hide them.
Okay, so when I was doing the banner, we're going to come in here, and I used a triangle shape, and we're going to close that out. Now, with editing, and this is what I like, I want to resize my triangle, but maybe I want it longer and skinnier. So again, when I come into the resize, I can unlock this padlock. And again, I can, oops, we want to be in resize. I can stretch it, if it's going to cooperate for me. I can make it, why do you keep wanting to do that? There we go. So I can make it skinnier. I can make it longer. If I know the size, I can actually just touch the number here. A dialog box opens up.
Normally.
And I can say, normally, and I can say, okay, I want this to be 120 millimeters. And maybe I want this one to be, let's see, we'll go 190 since we were in a 200 hoop. And then I think, no, maybe this one needs to be just a little bit wider. Okay, nice. So now, and then what I absolutely love here is underneath the font, you're going to see this circle. When I touch that, that's my outlines. I have all of these choices of outline stitches. So I can stick with the satin stitch that we're used to, but maybe I want to try a different stitch as the outline for my applique.
Nice.
All right, so when you're, and then, you know what, let's rotate this 90 degrees because that's our banner. And then we just say okay. So that's the first part. Now I want to add something to this. So you can see that there's a box around it. I'm just going to touch anywhere on the screen and remove that box because if I don't, I would change this. I can now go back into Applique Creator, choose one of the fonts. So let's say we were doing our Boo banner again. I can resize this. I can move it up. Maybe it needs to be a little bigger. I can position it. Most of the time on fonts, I do like the satin stitch. I say okay. Fingers. Okay, de-highlight. That's how easy it was to create
the Boo banner.
The B for the Boo banner.
So what I've done on with Shape Creator, I did a Halloween like on a pillowcase, and I took the little spiders and made it as the H, so it was all little spiders around it. Yeah, that was cool.
Well, maybe for you.
Yeah, well, it wasn't for me. I wouldn't sleep. It was for my son. Yeah, yeah, you're right.
I don't like spiders.
And I did them in glow-in-dark thread.
Glow-in-the-dark thread is kind of cool, but no. I don't even like embroidered spiders. It's not something that I'm going to go for. So that's how easy it is to create your own applique. Okay, so again, we'll highlight something on the screen. I'm going to press and hold. It says delete all, and I'm just going to go ahead and clear my screen. We also have Shape Creator. All right, and I think you were kind of talking about this. So again, under Shape Creator, it's a little bit different. I do have my shapes, circles, hearts, straight line. Now, we can use this to put buttonholes in the hoop, so easy, which I love doing my buttonholes in the hoop.
Oh, they come out perfect.
They come out absolutely perfect. Now the little denim box that you have sitting in front of you, that is Shape Creator. So I have just done multiple size circles and decorative stitches, and so you can use your decorative stitches, you can use embroidery designs. The possibilities are endless. So this was just a fun little recycled box from an old pair of jeans.
Nice, I like that.
And played with the Shape Creator. So I think that you can get so many creative things. And again, I just can't stress enough the fact that it doesn't have to be just embroidery designs. And the machine does not dictate to me which ones of my decorative stitches I can use.
That's nice.
I can basically put any of my decorative stitches in the hoop.
And that's the way Pfaff has always been. Pfaff has always been not just, hey, I'm going to straight stitch, I'm going to do this decorative stitch. It's always been, you can take the stitch and do what you want.
That's it.
Yeah,
it's the creative possibilities.
Exactly. They've always been like that.
They have.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they're even going further.
Oh, yeah. Yes, they are. Okay, so again, let's now something that I have always loved is the ability to place my designs exactly where I want them.
Right.
All right, and that might mean that I'm doing something continuously. So you see on that long coat, I've done a lot of placement on the collar, but there are panels that go down the entire coat. And so being able to get the placement perfect was very, very important to me. So using your continuous hoop, but you still need to get the placement right.
Yeah, you still got to line it up.
You still got to line it up. And there's, I don't know how many hoopings that one took, but, that's the other thing is I love to be able to hoop multiple times to create designs larger than any hoop. And so precise placement becomes very, very important to me. So we're going to do a little exercise, and I'm going to show you how easy it is to place something. So we're going to, I'm going to come in and choose my hoop style. So right now I have a 120 by 120 hoop here, and I've sewn out just a very small little flower. So it was previously done. So we're going to go, let's see, I want 120 by 120. And I'm going to come into my load designs. And here's where we find all of the designs that are built into the machine. But when I'm doing this, I'm going to go to my minis. I love my little minis because they're so much fun to use. I'm going to scroll up, and I'm just going to pick this little leaf. Now, we talked earlier about sizing, changing sizing. This machine allows you, and most machines do nowadays, to not only scale, but to resize.
Okay.
Now what scale is I can change the design size about 10 to 15% up or down, but it does not change the stitch count. And right now this shows me under information that this has 533 stitches. So I'm going to open up my editing. And over here is an icon with 2 butterflies on it. This is my resize icon. So when I touch that and I change the design size, and I can do that just with my fingers, or you can resize down using the arrows, and we say okay. Oops, did I not change? It still says 566. Let's try this again. There. Okay, we've made it smaller. Let's say okay. It's still so, don't you just love cameras sometimes?
Of course.
Okay.
Oh. So basically you're resizing it.
I'm resizing it, so we're taking it, okay, so we're going to do that. We're going to say okay. You can see now it only has 250. So we've taken out considerably amount of stitches, which is also going to make this sew out a little bit faster. All right, but I still need to place it.
Right.
So what we're going to do here is we're going to go to Embroidery Stitch Out, which is going to have my arm move. Now, when we go into Embroidery Stitch Out, it's going to check with me and give me and make sure that I have everything set up.
Right.
So the first thing it's going to do is I have my 120 by 120 hoop. It tells me what plate I have on, that my foot is okay, I have my cutter on, and I could baste or color sort if I had multiple designs. We've checked real quick. We're going to touch OK, and we're going to place our hoop on. We're also going to rethread real quick with a green. And again, this is something, you know, we used to dread thread changes, and I really don't anymore because, again, it is so quick and so easy to thread my machine. Okay, now once we are in the embroidery mode, we're going to see that it has precise positioning, and I'm going to touch that icon, and it brings up a different screen here. And it's hard to see because I've got green on green, but there's a green crosshair right in the middle of the design. Now we're going to place this kind of really close to one of the petals. So the first thing I want to do is I want to move that icon to the end of my leaf. Now, we've got some icons here. I'm going to touch the one with the plus, and it's going to show me, you know, a larger view. And I can use my arrows to put that crosshair on an exact stitch.
Like a single stitch?
A single stitch.
Nice.
That's what I love about precise placement. Right. And the reason they say precise is I can lock on to any stitch in the design.
Wow.
Okay, so once I have it where I want, you can see right here the number 1 is activated. I'm going to touch 2, and you can see that it changed almost, it kind of looks like a bullseye.
Right.
That means it is locked on to that particular stitch. So now I'm going to make my screen a little smaller here, maybe. Cold fingers, there we go. And I'm going to move it up, and I'm going to aim for up. We can just use our arrows to kind of fine tune, and I'm just going to put it close to one of the petals. I want to get in between the petals.
So you're basically going and putting it right in the petal.
I'm going to move, between 2 petals.
Or between, Yep.
And you can get very precise. We're not going to worry too much. And we'll go up just a few clicks more. All right. I think that's good. Now, this would actually be sewing up and down. That's not the way I would want the leaf to sew. I would probably want it to kind of sew out more towards this way. So you can either guess and rotate the design, how many things, or with precise placement, I can actually rotate the design. And what's kind of cool is that you can choose where your pivot point is. So we're going to leave it locked on here, but this is where 3 and 4 on precise placement comes in
place.
So when I go to 3, a new crosshair comes up.
Okay.
And again, if I lock on, I can move this up, and I can move it with my finger, and then I can fine tune it. So I'm going to the point of the leaf.
Okay.
And I'm going to touch 4, which locks on. And can you see that this icon changed? It still kind of looks like that bullseye we have, but there's arrows now.
Gotcha.
That becomes a pivot point.
Nice, okay.
So it doesn't change. So now I can just rotate this
however we want it.
Wherever we want. And again, we can make this smaller so we can see. Now, I'm going to say OK. Now we've made this smaller so that it'll stitch out faster. So again, all I have to do is touch my start stop. And this is another thing that I like.
Right.
I didn't have to go in and lower my presser foot.
Right.
I just touched the start stop. It automatically lowered and started to sew.
Nice.
So this one should take us probably less than a minute to sew out, which is why I like using the little minis. But you're going to see how easy it was for me to place that design exactly where I wanted it.
It's looking good.
And while the small ones are fast and easy, and I could have put everything into the screen at once, when you start working with the larger designs and the multiple hoopings and stuff, oh, look, we're finished. And
it sings, yeah.
So look how easy it was to get that placed exactly where
So
I
if you
want.
really wanted to practice, you would have to, you could do leaving every petal.
You know what? And that's it. When somebody's practicing this, the minis are great to practice. But I want you to see that you know, that stitch had what, 500 stitches?
Right.
500 and something, and we took it down almost half to
Wow.
250 stitches.
Yeah.
And look how nice that stitched out.
It's beautiful.
It's beautiful. So the fact that you can resize that much in the machine, so
And not
no
going
need
to-
for software.
Yeah, that's what
to do some of the
exactly.
basic
Yeah.
things.
On it. Nice.
It is. Again, Wi-Fi connected.
Okay, so again, with that, I can go to the cloud, grab my designs.
You can grab your designs.
Right.
When there's a new update for the machine, this is what I love about it. So when there's a new update for the machine, you turn your machine on, you'll get a pop-up, says there's a new update. Do you want to download that now or later?
Right.
Usually I'll just say go ahead and do the download now because I can continue to work. When the download is complete, it'll say, do you want to install now or on the next power up? So it just depends on where I'm at. You know, if I'm ready to take a break, I'll say go ahead and install now. If I think it's a large one that's going to be taking a lot of time, I'll say maybe on the next power up.
Right.
Because I can plan for that.
Yeah, exactly.
Or maybe I turn it on, you know, before I go to bed and let it go ahead and do its thing while I'm sleeping.
Right.
And then when I wake up in the morning, the machine is updated.
Ready to go.
So, you know, there's so many different capabilities. You know, we have color sort, we have so many different things you can do. But I just love the creative way I can work with the machine. It's phenomenal.
And it does have a new multi-function.
Oh, they've got some things that are so nice. Okay, the multi-function
really
foot
cool.
control.
It's behind you.
Oh, it's behind me. Okay.
That's the only reason I remembered it. It's not on the floor.
Okay. With the multi-function foot control, you can actually program different functions for the machine. So let's go in. It should, let's see, under settings. I do have it plugged in. Let's go, sewing settings. I know, I have to find it.
I put you to
Machine
the
settings.
test.
I know, here's the test. Can she figure out where it is? No. Sewing settings.
So basically what you're looking for is where you can program it to, if you hit the side of it, you can tell it to.
Right, so most of the time what you're going to work with is you're going to put your entire foot on here, and when we press forward, we're going to stitch.
Gotcha.
Okay? Oh, because we're in embroidery, it may not be giving me the thing. Okay.
I know, but that's okay.
Now, on the heel, most people do, or it might be raising your presser foot.
Right.
So you might cut, you might raise your presser foot. You have options.
Right.
And then these move to the side.
Oh, so you don't step on, you just like
So,
your foot.
Go forward, you're going to stitch. Heel might be to cut. This might be to raise my presser foot. This might be to raise my needle or put my needle down. So I have got multiple things I can do with my foot control. And again, what that does is it makes my sewing a little bit easier because it's hands-free.
Nice, yeah, because you can be
And
right
even
there holding the quilt.
Going back here,
Right.
I'm still not having to touch a button. I can do it with the foot control. So the multifunction foot control is really pretty cool.
Nice.
And it is an optional accessory. It does not come with the machine.
And they're 20% off right now.
Ooh,
so
that's phenomenal.
It's a great deal.
Now, the other thing that's very cool is the ribbon attachment, okay? And basically, up until now, you would have had to have had an industrial machine. They're on the other end if you want to grab something that has ribbon embroidery on it. Up until now, you've had to have a commercial machine that specifically did ribbon embroidery. Yeah, bring Aunt Gertie.
I'll bring the whole flock.
Bring the whole flock with you. Okay, so this is a design that came from my Sewnet library, and it's the sheep, and it's just cute as a bug. So, you know, I did a pink sheep.
Yeah.
And then I thought, okay, you know, you have the nursery rhyme.
Right.
Ba ba, black sheep. Nice. So we did one. So now I'm starting to get, you know, I'm thinking, ooh, a flock party.
Right.
We got the party going on. We got the party girl, and what part, you know, you always have the black sheep of the family that shows up for the party. But ribbon isn't the only thing that you can use, even though it's called a ribbon attachment.
Right.
This one is actually t-shirt knit. So it's a batik t-shirt knit that was cut into 3/8 inch strips, loaded onto the ribbon attachment just like I would put ribbon, and it gives a totally different look. The hat also came from my Sew Net library, so I was able to add an additional design to this.
Let's talk about Sew Net library.
And so this became, you know, Crazy Aunt Gertie for the party. So my Sew Net library is something that went into effect, a little over about a year or so ago, a little over a year ago. They started with around 4,000, 5,000 designs, and I don't know where they are now, probably somewhere between 6,000 and 7,000 designs. And so when you subscribe to my Sew Net library, you have access any time of the day or night to thousands of embroidery designs. So again, how many times do we wait till the last minute? We've got, or, you know, oh my God, the birthday is tomorrow, or the baby shower is in 2 days, and I need to start doing something. And I don't have nursery, you know, nursery designs or, you know, Halloween designs, something like that. You just look under my Sew Net library. You can put in a search, so you can say, you know, sheep, you could say nursery, children, flowers, Christmas, and it's going to bring up all the designs, and then basically you can just send them, again, wirelessly through to your machine, and then when you open it up, they'll be on your machine. So,
and the cool thing is, I really don't even have to go to my computer either. I can do it from my machine. I can type in, you know, flower or quilting, and it'll pop up all my quilting designs that are on my Sew library.
Exactly. This one that you have behind here, okay, so we came out recently with a 260 by 260 hoop. So for quilters, it's really great. It's approximately a 10 by 10 inch block. So very nice size for quilting. Now, when you purchase the hoop, you can go to the Pfaff website and you can download, I believe it was 6 different designs.
Gotcha.
Well, two of the 6 I think were very light, beautiful quilt designs, but they didn't quite fit what I wanted. I needed a 5th design that sewed out a little bit heavier, and so I went to my Sew Net library and found another design that I wanted, and I believe it's the one in the lower left corner, if I'm not mistaken. So not only did I have the free ones that came with it, I could go to my Sew Net library and choose another one that I liked.
So basically you have a catalog there and you can use any of them.
I mean, and it was a hard one there because then I had all these other designs popping up and it's like, which one am I going to choose? So,
and it's a subscription that you basically...
It is a subscription. Now, they've changed it a little bit because, again, originally it was just a subscription to the designs. Now it's a subscription to not only the designs, but software. So you're getting, and you have 2 levels. So if you want just basic software, you can subscribe and have the basic software and access to my Sew Net library. Or if you like the full-blown software, you know, you want to you want to digitize, you want to do everything. You have that in addition to the My Sew Net library. And the advantage is you're not putting out a huge amount of money for the software to begin with. And let's say 6 months or 3 months into the software, there's a new update. Well, instead of having to pay for a new upgrade to your software or wait, you know, till you can afford it, it just automatically updates for you. So you always have the latest version of the software. And I think that's amazing. And all those designs.
Tons of designs.
Tons of designs.
Anytime you need a design, you can get it. So that's good.
It's really good.
You never have too many designs.
Never.
I hate to say it.
I know.
We won't talk about it.
We won't
Yeah, we won't talk about all the years of my designs.
Never too much fabric, never too much designs,
Right.
never too big a machine.
Exactly.
Yeah, so
We always have to have a little more.
I know.
On it. So
And I know
that,
you have a great special on this one.
I do have a great special. So, oh, got in my clicker. So the Creative Icon is normally $16,499. We have it at Expo price for $89.99.
Wow.
That's a great deal.
That's a phenomenal price.
Yep. And it's coming with a free trolley because you have to have a trolley, especially
Yes.
coming to class.
Hers is a big girl.
Yeah, it has the embroidery trolley and the machine trolley. 0% financing. Plus, we have an embroidery package, which is some little extra stabilizer, thread, you know, like something to get you started.
Oh.
Or, I hate to say it, you always need more stabilizer. You always need
You
more
never have
thread.
enough
So
stabilizer.
even if you're trading up to like from a creative sensation, you can still use all the different things.
Exactly. That's good.
So it's a great price. And with that,
We would be remiss
Yeah.
if we did not mention that Pfaff is coming out with a brand new machine. It will be the Pfaff Creative Icon 2, and it is going to make its debut around May, mid to late May. And I don't think I have been as excited about a new machine as I
it is
am
amazing.
about
Yeah.
the Creative Icon 2.
it has some amazing features, and the nice thing is, if you buy a Creative Icon 1 right now, and when and you put a deposit, or if you want to trade up, if you buy it now, you can actually get your money back towards the
So
Creative
what
Icon.
you're telling me is, if I buy this right now
Right.
and you at this phenomenal price, you've
Exactly.
got $89.99,
Right.
and then when the Icon 2 comes out,
If you want the
that
Icon
I'm
2,
going to get my exactly what I paid for this one towards the new one.
exactly.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, so I can be using this till May.
Right.
Sewing on this, getting used to this, and then if I decide, well, it's a matter of if,
Yeah,
when
when
I
you decide,
get
yes,
my
yeah.
Icon 2,
Yeah.
I get full trade-in.
Basically.
Oh,
Yep.
I mean,
That's
that's
a
an
great
amazing deal.
Yes.
But you have to know that they are really adding some great features to it.
Yeah, I just happen to have a video for that.
Okay.
I do.
Let's see
let's see
what's coming up.
Yeah, exactly.
That's so cool looking. I want my And away she goes.
I loved you. Isn't that awesome?
Okay, so the fact that we're going to have the laser light, okay,
yeah.
and the grid.
Right.
Again, anything that helps me to sew straighter, especially when I'm doing my quilts and that kind of stuff, is amazing. So I can't wait for that.
Right.
You know, they also, you mentioned it's going to have the artificial intelligence. At some point there will be, I don't think it's going to be right away, the voice recognition, kind of like a, Alexa type
Yeah.
thing. But one thing that it will have is it will sense the majority of your presser feet. So if you have the wrong presser foot on for a particular technique, the machine will let you know that it's not the right foot for that particular technique.
I don't know. I'm stubborn, so I don't know.
I am. I'm sure you'll be able to override it because there are
I want to use this foot.
Yeah. So again,
and then he'll argue back at me, right?
I hope not. So you know, to me, that's a very cool thing. So you know, and then the one thing they didn't mention that we have talked about is it's going to have a camera.
Sweet.
And so right now I can take a picture of my hoop with my phone and I can send that to the machine, and what's in my hoop will appear on my screen.
Right, you can do that now with
I can do that now with the app.
Right.
And it's a free app. But the other thing that they're going to be having is this is going to scan what is in your hoop, and that will appear on the screen. So you will have the ability to see what's in the hoop for placement, but it doesn't look like they're going to take away the precise placement either. So now I can use both of them to get exactly the perfect placement that I want. So this is nice because I hate it when they add something and they take something away. They're not taking anything away from this. So like I said, I have not been this excited. Oh, and then to top that off, you saw we have the ribbon attachment that's available to it now, but there will be a new one coming out. It will be called the Creative Embellishment Attachment. So not only will it have the capability of doing the ribbons,
that beading,
trims
that looks
and
really
beads
cool
as well. So they're, again, enhancing the creative abilities of the machine. So
that's nice.
I know.
So excited.
I know.
On it. So of course with that we are taking pre-orders, and for the expo we have some really a really special thing. We're doing really good trade-in value, and we're doubling down your deposit. So go ahead and show the slide. So I have to click. So the creative icon too, and I have to say it, it's purple. Now you can pick, there's 4 colors actually.
Okay, so there's a limited amount of pre-order colors. So, and I've seen samples of it. There's a fabric one, and it is a very sturdy fabric, and I think that one's called Dusk.
It's the one at the end. It's kind of hard to see.
Then there is one that's more of a darker, that's the end one, and I always save the last one for, or the middle one for last, because it's the white one, and that's my favorite.
I can't hold it straight. There you go.
So you've got the Dusk fabric, the Northern Lights, which is a darker color, and then you have the Winter White, which is, to me, beautiful. Now, once those, if you don't want one of those or the limited edition, because there were only 275 of
and they
each
have
color
some left, but I don't think they have tons, so you better put the order.
Right. They were limited and they were worldwide, so it wasn't just for the U.S., and they are numbered. So, you know, there is a little plate on it. The number will be etched into it. So, you know, if you have 243 of, you know. But
it can't be number 1?
Well, probably not now.
But
the final color, and the color that they will be the purple, which I know a lot of people just are going to go ahead and go for the purple.
And it's a pretty purple.
It's a beautiful purple. It's a beautiful purple.
And the thing is, it's not just a color. It has like, you know, it's pretty.
It is. It's a very pretty machine. It's a very sleek looking machine. So.
But I also have some other bonus for it. So we'll put the slide back up. So the Creative Icon 2, the purple, it's pre-order. We're giving top dollar for trade-ins, and we're doubling your down payment up to $1,000. So if you put $1,000 down, we'll make another $1,000 on it.
That's great.
So that's an awesome deal. And you have to put the money down so they know to make your machine, to get your machine out, especially the special edition ones on it. And again, it's limited on these. Plus, you get a free bundle with pre-orders. You get the whole trolley set, and the trolley set comes with a notion thing, an embroidery, and look how sleek it is.
Oh, I know,
nice
it's beautiful.
It's like not quite black, but it's, you know, it's a pretty color. Plus you get thread and scissors and tape measure, basically something to match your creative icon. So, and again, remember, if you buy a Creative Icon 1, basically, a Creative Icon, we're giving you full value towards the MSRP on the new one when it comes out, the Creative Icon 2.
You can't beat that.
Yeah, you use a machine for 4 or 5 months, and then you trade it
get
in.
everything you paid for it back on,
Exactly.
you know, for your upgrade.
On it. So it's a great deal. So we're taking pre-orders. Either way, we have these in stock. Again, they're not going to be around forever.
No, no.
So if you really
be.
want one, I still have some left of these. And then again, you can trade up to the Creative Icon 2 on it. You can also use this, and if you know you're going to do a pre-order of this, you get all the stuff with it.
And I can't stress enough, I mean, I know there are those that will just wait until May to make their mind up. But if you pre-order now, your name is going to be higher on the list so that you're going to get it sooner and not have to maybe wait as long. Because again, you know, they can only produce so many at one time, and you know, you just want to be one of the first to get and take it home.
Exactly.
I know.
Yeah, you know, we're like that.
Yep.
So, thank you.
Well, thank you for having me.
We had a great
I love
time.
showing this off. It's my favorite machine.
We have questions. Oh, we have a question.
Will the machinery designs other than Pfaff?
Yes, and this is another thing I did not go into is the Pfaffs will read almost any embroidery format without having to reformat it through your computer software. So if I have another design from another machine that's, you know, different format, the Pfaff reads it.
Yeah, you don't have to change it.
I don't have to change it.
Don't have to go to that software to change it.
Exactly.
You just plug it in and it works. Yeah.
Okay, and then the ribbon attachment works on the current icon.
It does.
And the embellisher will be on the icon.
Correct.
So like she said, the ribbon attachment is available now for the current icon, but the embellishing attachment is only for the icon 2.
Correct.
We good? We're good. We answered those.
Good.
How exciting.
I know.
I'm excited.
I'm excited.
So we're here till all day today. So if you have questions, you can, again, give us a call, whatever, you know, works for you. Shoot us an email, a Facebook post, whatever you want to do. And I thank you, Debbie, for coming.
Well, I thank you for having me here. Your weather's been great.
Exactly.
I'm going home to rain and
Oh,
cold.
I'm sorry. Yeah, it's
me
gorgeous
too.
here
I know.
on it. And again, join us this Friday and Saturday for Facebook Live starting at noon on Friday and noon on Saturday. And if you have questions or anything, you can reach any of our locations. And these prices are good for the week. And that's it.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks for joining us. Bye, everyone.
Bye.